photographing squirrels? You're fired.
Chief, the planetarium party.
Oh, right. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. This guy, this man, he's not human.
You think you could steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Get a Load of This Movie, or as it's known in Finland, that baby's on fire. We talk about movies that are a part of a franchise. That means 3 movies or more. And this episode, we are starting a new franchise. But we just started a new franchise, you might say. Well, that is correct, one of our 4 listeners. We did just start a new franchise
Corey's mom.
last episode. And this episode, we're doing another new franchise, and we're going to go back and forth between Knives Out and Avatar. That is right. This episode, we are starting 2009's James Cameron's Avatar. So we will be talking about that in this movie, and we were going to be gearing up for the new one. And I am excited. One thing about this movie I will say before we get started, it makes you want to watch the second. I didn't want to stop. So as soon as it ended, I put the second one on. But I had a quick prompt that I heard this past week that I thought would be interesting to talk about. Before we get into the movie, of course, what is the movie you guys have seen the most in your life? And I have an answer, so you guys can think about it a little bit. I have an answer that I think is correct, but I think it also changes. I think the movie I've seen the most in my life is probably The Incredibles, because I think I saw seeing it as a kid and then really appreciating it and loving it throughout high school and college. And so I think that's the one I've seen more than any other movie. I honestly think Scream is up there, and I think The Three Amigos is up there.
Corey, oddly enough, I have not seen The Three Amigos. I know that was one that you were high on. Even back in high school, I remember that was one that you liked. But yeah, haven't gotten to that one yet.
I recommend it. I think you will really like it. I think it's your type of humor.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, building it up. I'm excited.
Cole, you'd hate it.
I've seen it.
Oh, I'm just trying to break it down for Zach a little bit.
My answer is probably pretty easy for you guys to even guess. I didn't have to think too hard about it.
Halloween. That's what I was gonna say.
Actually, but that would probably be in the top 5 for sure. It is Scream. It is Scream. Yeah. Though for all time, definitely Scream. Though if you want to do a little bit harder of one, in my Letterboxd era. So since I downloaded Letterboxd, where I log every movie that I watch. I'm really cool like that. It's really attractive to women. They really like it when you tell them you have a Letterboxd account and you're really particular about it.
There you go. Particular.
I can tell you. So I think I got it. I want to say.
Can you
late
see on
2020?
Letterboxd? Does it tell you what movie you've seen the most? I was trying to look it up
might,
before.
but I know exactly what it is, and I can tell you how many times I've watched this one movie. Okay, and you guys can guess what movie. It's not Scream. I've watched Scream 8 times since I downloaded Letterboxd 5 years ago. Okay,
good.
I've watched this movie 11 times since I've gotten Letterboxd. Dolphin Lover does not count.
No, it's a movie.
It's not a movie. That's a short documentary. It's not a full-length film.
Okay.
We're gonna leave that out.
Start Letterboxd?
I said about mid 2020. So I've watched this movie 11 times, which is again, this is also something that's really attractive to women.
I'm gonna say
you do
Dune.
the same.
I'm gonna say Dune
good
because
guess.
he saw Dune in theaters 5 times, I believe.
5 would be the number for in theaters.
I've got
yes,
another.
Dune.
No, I was gonna say I have another guess, but I feel like it would have fallen off, and not in 2020. Are you sure it was 2020?
I might. What, when I got Letterboxd?
Yeah, I remember.
Pretty sure.
I remember you rating Endgame, and that was 2019. What movies came out in 2019?
June of 2020 is the first 2 movies I logged in Letterboxd in June of 2020 were Citizen Kane and The Room.
Is it The Room? No, I can't.
It's
be
not The Room.
That would have been a bit. That would have been.
No,
good. I give up.
I'm just gonna stop you now because it is Dune. It is Dune. Cole guessed right. It was Dune.
Oh, you should have just cut us off there.
Well, you were still. I thought you were both gonna submit guesses, and you were still thinking.
Well, I was honestly thinking Infinity War or Endgame, one of those two. But then I was like,
those much lately. No, I haven't watched
I
those
know.
much the
I
past
was
few
like,
years.
those would have fallen off. those would have fallen off. Interesting. Cole, do you have an answer?
Shrek. I mean, it's easy. I probably watched it every day as a child on my VHS. My mom
I
said,
remember you watching
like,
Grease a lot. I would have thought Grease would have been the one for you, Cole.
I do
Grease is a
like
good one.
Grease. I do like Grease. Why are you?
Maybe we'll do musicals. Maybe we'll do a musical trilogy at some point. We'll all pick a
Ooh,
musical.
that would be kind of fun.
Mamma
Cole
Mia
pick
trilogy?
Grease.
Mamma
Speaking of
Mia?
Cole pick Grease.
I just saw a musical today, but we could
No,
talk
this
about
isn't.
that.
This isn't going to be
The
like
end of the
when
episode.
I wanted to do E.T. and you're like, "Come on, Cole, we have to do Jaws for Steven Spielberg."
I mean, Jaws. It was definitely more relevant of a movie than E.T.
It was the 300th anniversary of Jaws. Is that
I mean,
right?
Corey's the one that really threw everything off by doing Ready Player One. So that's really
a good one.
kind of set us up. Let me tell you, it really did numbers when I looked at the analytics. Literally, like the lowest listened to episode we've done this year. So, good call, Corey.
Hey, whoa. Well, fine.
I'll tell you what.
Then
I'll
you
tell
know
you this:
what?
if we did a musical trilogy, my pick would easily be La La Land for sure.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I'd have to think on mine.
Mine might be Begin Again, just because it's such a unique take on the musical.
There
John
we go,
Carney.
yeah. That's gonna be the Ready Player One of that trilogy when we do that for sure.
Well, with
Okay.
that attitude, on to the call sheet.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. You better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice.
We are a populist medium. We play for the people. Okay.
We play for the people.
Yet when we want to do trilogies for the people, you're like, I just don't know.
Are you talking about All the Boys That I've Loved? Is that the one you're talking about? That is not our market. That is just not gonna, it's not.
Could be.
It plays
And if
well
it
on
is, they'll tune in for that one,
It
and they will
plays
not
well
come back.
on TikTok.
They're
I don't
loyal.
think there's big overlap between the Boys That I've Loved and the Avatar fan bases. Okay.
In this version of the call sheet, we have 4 questions and a bonus question. Another regular game. Nothing crazy. No twists and turns to this one. No one has a special game token. And it's pretty straightforward, with the bonus being a closest to the pin. Please text me your answers. And with that, do you guys have any questions before we get started? I'll take that as a no, since I got a no. Okay. On to question number 1. Michelle Rodriguez was a pretty big name when Avatar came out in 2009. As we all know, she is a big part of another franchise that had a movie come out in 2009 as well. What movie was that? What was the name of that movie? I have an answer from each of you. We're moving on to question number 2. We all love family on this podcast. I can't think of one of us who doesn't. What was the name of Jake Sully's brother? I have an answer from one
You know
of you.
what's
I'm waiting
ironic
on
about that
Zach.
one? You know what's ironic about that is I was going to make a talking point about how we just don't talk enough about Jake's brother.
It is kind of crazy, the series of events that led to him being there. Okay, I have an answer from each of you. We're moving on to question number 3.
Corey might
Sigourney
not be
Weaver,
as fucked as I said.
Sigourney Weaver and Zoe Saldana are both amazing actresses, and the movies they have been in have been nothing short of great. What are each of their top-rated movies on Letterboxd? There's 2 possible points here. So what are each of their top-rated movies on Letterboxd? Okay, I have an answer from Cole.
Why'd you think I was fucked on the first question? That's my question.
Because I wonder, because it's a tricky title. It's not as obvious as you'd think. On that one. So wait, okay. Grr. This is a tough one.
Okay, I have an answer from each of you. We're moving on to question number 4. In the movie, we are given the dumbest name of a mineral. I'm sorry. We are given the dumbest name of a mineral that feels like they just had a placeholder and forgot about it and didn't care enough to go back and change it. What was the unit of measurement of unobtanium that sells for $20 million? What was the unit of measurement that sells for $20 million? Waiting on Cole. Okay, I have an answer from each of you. Let me count this.
Units of what? Units of what?
I think we have a tie. we are going to go on to the bonus, and then we are going to go through all these answers and see who won. The bonus question: since the first Avatar movie came out, how many movies has Sam Worthington been in as a character? So not as himself, not any documentaries. How many movies has Sam Worthington been in as a character since 2009's Avatar came out? Okay, we do have a winner that was closest to the pin, so we're going to go through these questions one by one, and we're going to see who won. Question number 1, Michelle Rodriguez was a pretty big name when Avatar came out in 2009. As we all know, she is a big part of another franchise that had a movie come out in 2009. What was the name of that movie? Not what was the name of the franchise. What was the name of the movie? Cole, what answer did you say?
Fast and Furious.
Zach said the same thing, and that is correct. That is a point for each of you. Question number 2, we all love family on this podcast. What was the name of Jake Sully's brother? Zach, what did you say?
Sam.
You did say Sam. Cole, what did you say?
I said it was Zach's dad's name, Tommy.
It was Thomas. Tommy is acceptable, so that is 2 points for Cole, 1 point for Zach. On to question number 3. Sigourney Weaver and Zoe Saldana are both amazing actresses, and the movies they have been in have been nothing short of great. What are each of their top-rated movies on Letterboxd? You both had the same answer for Sigourney Weaver. So, Zach, what did you say for Sigourney Weaver?
Alien.
And Cole, you said the same thing. That is incorrect. Cole, what did you
say? I said Aliens.
Okay, this is still incorrect.
Okay.
Cole, what did you say for Zoe Saldana? Endgame. And Zach, what did you say for Zoe Saldana?
Infinity War.
And it was Infinity War, so Zach ties it up there, 2 apiece. Moving on to question number 4. In the movie, we are given the dumbest name of a mineral that feels like they just used a placeholder and forgot about it and didn't care enough to go back and change it. What was the unit of measurement? What was the unit of measurement of unobtanium that sells for 20 million? You both got this one correct. It
1 kilo.
It was a kilo, even though Cole did not spell it correctly. But that's okay. I still counted it over. Moving on to the bonus, closest to the pin, since it's all tied up at 3 apiece. Since the first Avatar movie came out in 2009, how many movies has Sam Worthington, Jake Sully, been in as a character, not as himself? Because he's been in a few Avatar documentaries, and we are not counting those. Cole, you said 8. Zach, you said 13. The answer is 34. He has been in 34 movies. I was just as surprised as you all. And Zach is the closest to the pin on that one. So congratulations, Zach. You still took it away, even though you thought Cole was, what was your phrasing?
Fucked.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Fucked.
Jesus.
It was it was aggressive.
Anyway, congratulations, Zach. Moving on to the action.
Even the opening scene, there's always some random girl who gets a call that undoubtedly ends up getting her killed. It's also predictable. There's no element of surprise. You can see everything coming.
Did that surprise you?
Why?
Because you talk too much. Now shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Even the opening scene, it's always so predictable.
You can just see everything coming.
Did that surprise you?
Cole, I'll be honest. I did not watch this movie. Can you tell me what happened in this movie?
Starts the podcast. I couldn't wait to watch the second.
Yeah, but I just couldn't bear to watch the first.
Well, the Earth is dying, Corey. So the RDA mines unobtanium on Pandora, home to the Na'vi who live in harmony with nature. Humans use avatars to explore Pandora's toxic atmosphere. Jake Sully, a paraplegic ex-Marine, replaces his deceased twin brother, Tommy, as an operator. Jake becomes separated in the forest and is saved by Nateria, who brings him to her clan. He begins to train in the Na'vi culture. Colonel Quaritch offers Jake restored mobility if he spies on the Na'vi and their sacred home tree located above a rich unobtanium deposit. Jake grows close with Nateria and is initiated in the tribe, and the two become mates, causing Jake to question his mission. The RDA, led by Selfridge, orders Home Tree destroyed, killing many Na'vi despite warnings about harming Pandora's biological network. After Jake's spying is revealed, he and Grace are captured. Trudy rescues them, but Grace is fatally wounded during the escape. To regain the Navi's trust, Jake bonds with the Taruk, uniting the clans to fight the RDA's assault on the Tree of Souls. A massive battle ensues. Key allies like Sute and Trudy die. R.I.P. Sute and Trudy. Pandora's wildlife joins the fight, helping the Na'vi defeat the humans. Quaritch is killed, and the RDA is expelled from Pandora, and Jake undergoes a permanent consciousness transfer into his avatar, remaining on Pandora with Natiri.
If you could transfer your consciousness, a permanent consciousness transfer, or whatever Cole just said.
Are we okay?
What? Did you not hear that?
Did I not hear what?
The question that I asked?
You didn't finish the question.
Well, Cole made a weird sound, so I thought that like my audio, like the internet was bad or something.
No, it sounded like Cole was jumping in to answer your question that you hadn't finished asking, and then he had a stroke in the middle of
The word was yes.
He went, and it just threw the entire podcast off. We should probably just stop.
That made me. Let me start over without a weird sound happening. If you could do a permanent consciousness transfer or whatever Cole mentioned. All right. I mean, I don't know why we try to do this. I don't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
don't care anymore. No, go ahead.
No, I want to hear it.
No, I don't care. I don't care. Why should I care? If you guys don't care, why should I care?
We're sorry.
I do care. I'm sorry.
Go. You can go. We're sorry.
I couldn't help myself. Come on. It wasn't anything against you.
Okay.
No, I want to hear the question.
It's not. Well, now it's been built up too much.
I'm really not expecting too much from it.
Great. If you could permanently transfer your consciousness into anything the way that Jake does into his avatar at the end of the film, what would it be?
Like, so anything, like any animal, plant.
It could be a stapler for all I care. Maybe a nice.
Do you have an answer?
Maybe a nice frosty glass at the local tavern, and you just get to listen. Think of all the stories you'd hear all the time.
Yeah, but
of course you have no autonomy of who's putting their mouth on you at any given point, and you probably spend a lot of time in the freezer or in a dishwasher. But
the sad thing is you never get to drink the beer. You never even get to taste the beer.
Oh, you're right. That'd be kind of cruel. Yeah, there's a lot of things you probably wouldn't get to do anymore if you were a glass.
So bad answer.
Bad answer. Bad prompt, really. So Avatar 2009. So what is? What do we think about it? What do we?
I have something I wanted to
go right ahead.
I wrote it I wanted to talk about Jake Sully as a character.
Who's that?
He's the main character in the movie.
Oh, right.
But that almost goes to my point of I don't know if he was necessarily the best choice to play Jake Sully. Sam Worthington.
So this is the
and I think so. This is kind of why I included the question in the call sheet about Jake Sully or about Sam Worthington and how many movies has he been in since. And I think your answer since 2009, that has been 14 years. How many movies has he been in? And both of you gave answers that were under one movie a year. He is a professional actor, and neither of you thought he was doing more than
some
well.
TV work.
He's also filming this for part of each of the.
He's also Mason in Call of Duty Black Ops, as well as Black Ops 2.
I just don't think that he was necessarily the best choice. I wanted to kind of compare and contrast him with other action stars and big movies. So I made a list, and I want you to say if you would take, or who is a better character, Jake Sully or blank. Okay, so I have a list of 15.
Define better, like more interesting or like better,
more interesting,
person,
more charismatic, someone you want to watch on screen, has better chemistry with their co-stars.
I'm gonna okay, I got you.
You know, kind of like an all-encompassing. It's not one, but maybe not their movies are necessarily, because I think this movie's probably better than a lot of them. Not a lot, but a good amount of the movies that I put in here. But I'm just going to go through it, and who would you rather take? Or who's better? Jake Sully or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Okay, well, I'm throwing some softballs. We're going to get through this. Jake Sully or Marty McFly?
Marty.
Jake Sully or Ethan Hunt?
Ethan Hunt.
Jake Sully or Captain America? Steve Rogers.
Captain America.
Jake Sully or Harry Potter?
Jake Sully.
Jake Sully, I think so.
Interesting.
I could tell you, like, in one movie, he's just more interesting than Harry's. Like, Harry has the same arc in every movie.
Well, I mean, we only have 2 movies from Jake Sully. With Harry, he has the, I guess, good and bad that come with having 8 movies, you know? So, anyway, moving on. Jake Sully or Jack Sparrow?
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow, yeah.
I'm going to go Jack Sparrow, but also here's the thing, what you just said. I mean, by the end of the 5th movie, I am sick. I am sick of Jack Sparrow. By the end
Okay,
of that
you know
5th
what?
one.
Let's adjust this just off their first movie. Can we do
How
that?
about off their...
yeah. Okay.
So it's a little
sure.
bit. It's a little bit more fair. But I don't think that changes anything. Maybe does it change
Definitely does
Ethan
not.
Hunt?
Definitely does. No, I like Ethan a lot in that first movie.
Okay.
I think I remember I had a whole thing about how good he looks in that one.
Yeah. I was just making
Yeah.
sure. I was gonna say everyone else I
magic.
think is pretty good.
Does hand magic.
Does that change Harry Potter?
No.
Okay.
It's just
Just
Harry in
asking.
that first
I'm
one.
going through it. Anyway. But Jack Sparrow definitely. Ellen Ripley. I'm sorry. Jake Sully or Ellen Ripley?
Ellen Ripley.
Ellen Ripley.
Yeah, definitely.
Jake Sully or Rocky?
Rocky.
Yeah, I
Fly to
guess Rocky.
California.
Whoa.
I guess Rocky.
Jake Sully or Sarah Connors?
Sarah.
Jake Sully or Luke Skywalker?
I'm going to take Jake if we're going off the first movie.
We are going off the first movie.
Wait, you know what? Going off the first movie, then I might switch off Sarah Connor to Jake.
I
Yeah,
actually
forgot about
really
that.
like Sarah in that first
I
movie.
well, here's the thing: is spoiler. I like Jake in this movie. Corey's just been ranking him against some of the other all-timer characters in movie histories.
Purposely.
Yeah.
Jake Sully or Ferris Bueller?
Okay. Yeah.
Jake,
I mean,
Jake Sully
that-
or
this
John
one-
McClane?
This one,
yeah, John.
John McClane. Did you
Jake-
say
This is
Ferris
mean. This is
Bueller?
mean. We're like if
Jake
it's like
Sully or John Wick?
John Wick. Corey.
You're taking
Um,
John Wick over Jake Sully?
I think I'll take Jake Sully. I do
I
think
was
Jake
gonna
has more personality.
Jake Sully or Katniss Everdeen?
Katniss
This one-
Everdeen.
this
I'm
one
a
was hard for me,
feminist.
too.
That's a tougher one.
I think that's a pretty
Um,
tough one. I think if
I'm
we're going
gonna
off
go,
the first movie, I
I'm
like
gonna
Katniss
go
more.
Jake. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jake. Yeah.
And then the last one I had Jake Sully or Ash from Evil Dead.
Off the first
first
movie,
movie.
Jake. Jake.
Yeah, Jake off first movie. Yeah.
So my point of putting this all together is it felt very, Jake Sully felt very one-dimensional. It didn't feel like we got a ton from him.
Oh.
I thought his story was good. And the plot that he was the story he was taken on was fine. It never felt like he was driving the story, It never felt like it always felt like it's hard to explain as well because I just didn't get a lot from him. And I think I felt this way about Luke Skywalker too, and that's why I wanted to include him on here. It's like I really love Mark Hamill as like the Joker, and mainly like when he's the Joker, he is just so good, and that was the main comparison. But when he's Luke Skywalker, I'm like, I just don't know, And I get the same sense from Jake Sully. That's been my take for a while, Cole. Don't look surprised. But like with
I don't
Jake
think
Sully,
that's a crazy take. Yeah.
I get the same feeling, where it's just like I'm just not necessarily sold that this guy is that character or that this guy is that like I don't know. So going off of that, I wonder if that had something to do with there being such a big break between the first one and the second one. And I feel like if you did have something or have someone like an Indiana Jones, like a Jack Sparrow, like an Ethan Hunt or a Sarah Connors or any one of these, like John McClane, Katniss Everdeen, like if you had someone that was a bit more charismatic, a bit more interesting to watch, a bit more like three-dimensional as a character, I wonder if there would have been more pressure or more, I don't even know, more something that would have driven Way of Water coming out earlier. And maybe that would have been to the detriment of Way of Water, and not to talk about Way of Water at all, but maybe that would have been to the detriment of the movie to push it out.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if his portrayal of Jake Sully had something to do with the overall success, which also feels weird. I understand that because it was one of the most it was the highest grossing movie of all time, and I believe it still is.
Now it is. Yeah.
It still is. So it feels weird saying that, but when people look back on it, they're not saying, "Oh, I love Jake Sully," some people might not even remember his name, but you could go see Raiders of the Lost Ark and know that it's an Indiana Jones movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead, Cole, because I got a lot of responses to that.
I also do. I'm not gonna go into. I feel like Zach knows more about like the little details that went into the delay with the second one. One being they didn't have the technology to shoot the way Cameron wanted to shoot the movie because he shot
It's the
all
water
these
stuff. Yeah.
all the water stuff. They didn't have the technology, so that pushed the movie back. I think like 5-6 years. But I remember I really like Jake because there's a way Cameron like described him in an interview where he was like, yeah, we looked at Chris Evans and we looked at Chris Pratt and he offered Matt Damon 10% of the gross for this movie. Damon turned it down. So that's another story of Matt Damon being an idiot. But the point of that is Cameron goes on to say Jake was the only guy,
Matt Damon in this movie.
Sam Worthington was the only guy who, when he did the audition, he delivered that speech, the like, this is our land, you know, the speech to rally the Na'vi. And he said that was the best thing because he knew Sam could deliver that speech, but he also knew he could portray this guy that at the end of the day, you just wanted to get a beer with him.
Oh.
And I feel like that exudes a little bit in a way that the way he plays the role, like even when he's describing the beauty of Pandora, the beauty of flying, he can switch back to a moment with Norm and he's like, Norm's back on board. He thinks I'm a scound too. And like
it's moments like that where I'm like, I wish I would have gotten a little bit more from him, because the whole thing with Norm is it felt like it was going to build up and then it's being played off, which I think might go into the writing of it as well, because they didn't really pay off that. They were just like, yeah, we're going to forget about this, you know, we're just going to move on. But it's like there was serious tension between him and Norm, and he just kind of plays it off like, yeah, he thinks I'm an idiot.
Well, Corey, if you've seen the deleted scenes, there's a reason Norm gets back on board, and
deleted scenes aren't canon, so that doesn't mean anything.
He starts hooking up with Trudy, and it makes his life a lot better.
Deleted scenes.
Trudy Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Wow, good for Norm. What a pull for Norm.
Great for Norm, bro.
Well, in the second one,
that would have made that so sad at the end when Trudy, you know, spoilers, unfortunately doesn't quite make it.
But yeah, Zach,
Corey,
you go in.
I think Cole said a lot of what I was going to say. I get what you're saying. Like maybe there would have been more demand for the Avatar sequel to come quicker. But I mean, I think the most important thing that Cole mentioned there is that, yeah, I think a lot of it was the technology, because I think they initially had this slated. I think when this was such a big movie in 2009, it was like a 2013 or something release date for the second one initially, and it just kept getting pushed back, especially once Cameron decided he wanted to shoot multiple movies at the same time. And that's what they've been doing with Avatar 2 and 3. And then even I think they've said they've shot some of 4 and 5 even. Even without those guaranteed to have come out. I'm sure they'll probably come out unless this movie, like the third one, bombs somehow. But I think that was a part of the delay, the technology. But also, I don't think they're going to... You said there might be more pressure. I think a lot of it is just James Cameron just has this property like on complete lock and key, in the sense that like I don't think you're pressuring James Cameron to hit a release date. And then also I think some of the delays were probably also part of the big Fox and Disney merger. I mean, because I remember when they made that acquisition, one of the first things they did, and I know this because I had a bet with enemy of the pod Adam on the release date of Avatar 2, because he was like, it's never coming out, dude. And he had always said that, and I was like, man, there's a release date. They've been filming it, like it's gonna come out. And and then the first thing Disney did was like move back Avatar 2 a year, and I lost that bet. And then I eventually made it back, which we might talk about next episode, with a different bet related to Avatar 2. But so that it all worked out in the end. But I think
maybe I'm focusing too much on the financial success and like pushing for it. But like when you think of Avatar, you don't think of Jake Sully,
right? And that was exactly what I was just about to say. Is that because Jake Sully is not Indiana Jones is the star of any. That's why you go to Indiana Jones, to see Indiana Jones movies. That's why you go to those movies. You go to Avatar movies to see Pandora, to see the special effects. That's the star of the movie. And that's why the delay is okay for Avatar 2. Maybe there was less pressure because the selling point is how good you're going to make it look and how detailed and rich you're going to build out that world. And if you need time to do that, then that's what's going to draw you in all those years later. So I see what you're saying, Corey, but I think that at the end of the day, it's because Jake Sully didn't have to be the star of the movie. And I think that's something Matt Damon said in his anecdote about declining the role, is that James Cameron told him, I don't need a movie star for this movie. The effects are the star. And, obviously that turned out to be true because Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana were not stars at all. And they both starred in their own...
She was relatively big at the time, but he wasn't.
Maybe. I think she filmed Star Trek after she got the role here. I was
gonna say, what was she in around this time?
The first Star Trek came out the same year.
Your favorite movie, Terminal, Corey.
Yeah,
she was in like a big role in Terminal.
She has a bit part in the first Pirates of the Caribbean. Oops, sorry. And then Sam Worthington was in Terminator Salvation that year. But again, they're not stars. So I do think that's part.
Star Trek came out before this. Sorry.
It did. Yeah.
She was casting this before.
I'm saying, I think she filmed this stuff before she was in Star Trek, is my point. Is that they didn't cast her to be because she was a star. I think it just worked out that she got that part after. But I mean, what you're saying, Corey, kind of does go into like a big talking point, especially at least going into the second one. I think the second one might have shut some people up in that regard. But like people would say Avatar has no cultural footprint, or in the sense that like it made all that money, set that huge record for the box office, and then no one would talk about it after. And then for one thing to say about that is like, I feel like a lot of that was like Twitter based, and like people confuse Twitter world with real world. And that, at the end of the day, like maybe the people who aren't movie obsessed online still remember 2009's Avatar and be like, oh, that was really cool. And they just don't think about it. But the second that they hear about the second one coming, they'll go and see it, which obviously they did because the second one was a big success. But I think maybe part of what you're saying is because Jake Sully maybe didn't have that cultural footprint because Jake Sully and Neytiri weren't that memorable of characters. I would disagree with that, especially on Neytiri's case. I love Neytiri. Spoiler alert, she's my favorite character in the movie. But maybe that's why it didn't have that pop culture cachet or whatever, which I actually think works to, at least, maybe this is more of a conversation for the second one, work to the benefit of going into the sequel because we're not sick of the property. It hasn't been diluted like Star Wars has in terms of like spin-offs and stuff, or like Marvel or any other like property that they just milk in different ways, Avatar is 2 movies. It's 2 movies to this point. And that's why I think it's so, even going back, maybe I didn't always have that pull to go back and rewatch the first Avatar, but going back and doing it for this, and then when I did it before the second one with that big gap of time, I was like, yeah, this is still a really good movie. Which I kind of can branch off into a whole other talking point, but if you guys have something to say about that, then...
No, I just think it goes to, because when I go through, I try to list my top 3 MVPs so I have something to pick from, and like Jake Sully didn't even scratch it, like I was like, there are so many other places to pick from that like the main character didn't scratch it. I think even though it was financially successful, and yes, the planet Pandora is like the star of the movie, I think that is an issue if your main character isn't one of the best parts of the movie. If you can't list it in like a top 3 being the best part, I think that's an issue. And maybe I'm on an island. Maybe
that's an interesting prompt. Let me look if there's like a movie. While you talk, Cole, I'm gonna look to see if there's a movie that I like love where I would not say like the main character is close to the reason why.
Well, I just think that's not as much to do with Sam Worthington's performance.
Do you think it was the writing, like the character?
I think like everything you're saying feels like your problem is with the way he is written and not with the way he's acting. You're saying, I wish I had more. The way Cameron...
Maybe.
James Cameron is like known for being like a guy. He's one of those guys, you do it his way or you don't do it at all. So I guarantee you Sam Worthington is doing it the way he's told to do it. And I
love a yes man.
He has a certain type of charisma that I think exudes in like the scenes where there is nothing said. Like there's the scene when they're flying on the Banshees and he bumps Neytiri and you just see him give her like a little smirk. And obviously that's Sam Worthington doing the performance capture, and he's
just smiling.
it's
the
still
emotion comes from her smiling back and them having this like casual interaction in her world. I think that's where the emotion comes from. I don't think the emotion comes from him smiling while being on a horseback. Like I'm not really
he
getting a
wasn't on
lot
a
from
horseback.
him. Well, pretending to be on a horseback in like the motion capture worlds wherever he
Performance
was.
capture.
We
Get
had a
off his
conversation.
ass.
We had a conversation last episode. I asked if you guys think really good writing can overcome really bad acting, or if really good
I don't
acting,
think it's bad acting though.
or if
That's the
really,
thing, I don't think it's bad.
and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. But you guys both agreed with each other. I don't know what I said. I kind of zone out with whatever I say. But I remember you guys both agreed that really good acting could overcome bad writing. So maybe it is the writing that I do have an issue with. But if he was a better actor, and if he really could deliver like emotion and give a great performance and was a movie star that James Cameron says he didn't want to have, I think I would have felt it a little bit more. Even if the writing might have been a little bit flat and the story would have been very like Jake is kind of just along for the ride. Because I kind of feel like for the most part he is, he never really is. He's not really taking an active role. He's more of taking an observer. And like, I think that works well in this movie because the audience is mainly trying to observe this world. And so him being the conduit in which we do that, I think works well within the story. But the story just kind of happens to him. And then he doesn't really like the lines he delivers. I don't like, yeah, he has some good parts. I'm not saying the speech wasn't good. I'm not saying there aren't good moments between him and other characters. But I'm saying overall, I think those are few and far between with the amount of time that he is on screen.
I think there is an issue, and it comes from the writing because I believe his character a lot. Like when he like says his lines, I believe his character. I can feel for his character, and I think that is a sign of good acting. But you're making this point about how he feels like he's along for the ride. The journey starts because this
I
bad
feel like
thing,
he's along for the ride.
yeah, the bad thing happens to his brother, and he goes to Pandora to fix his legs. That's why he goes to
Is
Pandora.
that why?
Yes, he wants to get the money. He gets off the plane, and the first thing he says is, you can fix a spine, but not on vet benefits, not in this economy.
Yes,
That's why he's on Pandora.
I thought it was more of like for a second chance. I thought that's why it was because he knew that they were going to be in the
One and the same, I think.
You think? Okay, I never
And
got that it was like
he
super
even-
financially
he's-
driven. I never.
He
got
says
that.
to Quaritch, and this is what really sparks the mission to spy on the Na'vi, which is when him and Quaritch are talking, they're having like a moment, but Quaritch like lets him know like, we're the same, you and I, cut from the same cloth. I was first recon too. Clock.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
Oh, Zach, can I finish my point, please?
No one stopped you.
Oh,
You stopped
did.
yourself.
You guys were laughing at me.
I turned
but
away from
like
the screen and didn't make a sound.
But Quaritch says to him, he goes, he goes,
Nice try, Corey.
for lack of a better word, he's like trying to level with Jake, trying to say we're the same. And he goes, if you do this for me, I'll see you get your legs back when you get home, your real ones. So Jake is fully motivated by this idea to get his legs back, but then he starts losing himself in the forest, and in his words, I fell in love with the forest and the Omatikaya people, and I fell in love with you. And like these things, yes, they happen to him. He is along for the ride. He's on the ride in the Avatar. He doesn't know what he's doing most of the time because he is a soldier. He's following orders. He doesn't know how to not follow orders in the first, I would say, half of the movie. And that, I think, is what works for me when he starts doing all this stuff. Like, he takes over the Banshee and he learns to fly and he kind of becomes one of the people when he does that. And that's when we get the better version of his character. Not saying that version's bad, like the soldier version is great, but I love the version after when he becomes one of the people.
Yeah.
Well,
I do think he definitely comes into himself there in the second half of the movie, and then going into the second one.
He does what into himself?
I'm sorry. He comes into his own. I think
himself.
I think that's a phrase.
Into himself.
I was just messing with you.
I actually think if we rewind the tape, Cole, I think you'll be quite surprised that that's not what I said. I think so.
You said he comes into himself.
I think I said he comes into his own. I think I said he comes into his own.
No, you said himself.
It's okay though. I can't wait for you to edit this. And that's how you'll see it.
History will remember.
History remembers it how I want to remember it.
That's right.
If I need to go in and I need to re-record the line and put it in, then I will. Okay.
Zach, did you find any movies with characters that?
Oh, I surely did.
Okay, let's hear some.
Well, here's the thing, and it's an easy one to say because we literally had this conversation on that episode, the first Evil Dead. I don't think Ash is the best, easily in nearly the top 3 parts of that first Evil Dead movie, and I love that movie.
You know what?
We talked a lot about Cheryl.
Could we have this conversation again after Fire and Ash, when we're talking about Fire and Ash and how we feel about Jake Sully? I think let's take temp checks throughout the series.
Yeah, we'll take temp checks. The only other ones I was going to say that I kind of found while I was scrolling through casually on Letterboxd was like, again, another Sam Raimi movie, but Drag Me to Hell. I don't think Christine Brown, the main character of that movie, who is cursed, is why anyone circles that movie in high regard. Even though I do, I love that movie. But and then Gremlins movies, maybe even like I don't think the main characters in Gremlins are that memorable in either movie. I mean, it's great because it's a carryover. The main 2 characters are the same main 2 characters in the second one. But the star of the movie are the Gremlins. Yeah. That's why you come back, kind of like how Pandora is to Avatar, the Gremlins are to Gremlins, obviously. So those are like the few that I thought of. I'm sure there are more. Maybe the first Frankenstein, even like Dr. Frankenstein's not that interesting of a character in that movie, or at least the way Colin Clive portrays him. But like the monster is. So
Colin Klein?
Clive.
Calvin Klein?
Yeah, it's on your underwear, buddy. But Pandora, I guess here's a good segue. Just I don't know if it's next on our little docket, but I feel like it makes sense to go here. Actually, it is next. Wow, look at that. Well done, Corey. So scale of the movie Corey has written here. But putting into that scale of the movie, obviously a lot of that is Pandora, where we're talking about like the star of the movie. That's why people come back. The effects in Pandora, the world building, all that we were talking about. Wasn't there like a, I don't know how real this was or whether it was just internet article, BuzzFeed type stuff, but like a group of people who were like clinically depressed because they couldn't live on Pandora.
Yeah.
What?
I was looking that up before this too. It was like people had withdrawal because Pandora is just this beautiful like landscape and this beautiful planet. And yeah, it was kind of like when people started naming their cats Toothless.
Oh.
But it's more depressing.
Well, I just want to, I don't even need to harp on this because it's kind of self-evident in that regard. Obviously, that's crazy. That part's crazy to that extent. But it's because this world is so fleshed out. One article I read described it as dense, but like in a good way, like as in like it is so detail oriented, and there's so much there in Pandora, so many different areas that are like designed and thought out. I watched like a making of documentary like a couple years ago. I think before Way of Water, I rewatched this, and then on my Blu-ray there was like a 2-hour making of documentary, and just like the amount of effort and time that has to go into designing every single animal like that they have on this planet. Like they think it out, and like they really think about what makes sense like from an evolutionary standpoint with these animals on this planet. And it's just, it really is they make it feel real, not only with the effects and the detail there, obviously, which goes without saying, but just it really does. It all feels tangible in the sense that like there's so much depth to it. Everything is interesting like that you're looking at. I love the bioluminescence of it. Like at night, how pretty everything looks. Like there's some shots that look like a painting.
There's an extra detail in like the next one that adds to why is bioluminescent, which I love too, because that's about the world building of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's like one shot where they're swimming. It's just like during a montage or something where
it's
training, where they're like swimming and it looks like a painting. It really genuinely looks like a painting with them swimming at night and how pretty it is. I mean, all the animals. I love that little lizard that like kind of like, I don't know if he gets startled or what, but he like jumps off a vine and like kind of spins, like a little helicopter thing comes out of his back or something, and he kind of like spins like a seed falling from a tree.
Imagine how miserable that would be, just spinning for the rest of your...
Probably gets pretty dizzy. Yeah. So you're saying you would not put your consciousness into that spinny lizard?
God, no.
Back to that prompt.
Bad prompt.
Yeah. I'd put my consciousness into whoever's dating Dua Lipa.
Oh.
His name's Callum Turner, and
I love my girlfriend.
It wasn't so for the scale for me. It is.
I'm gonna leave it. She won't listen to this one.
It wasn't just like the scale. I wrote down the scale, but that like they introduce it, it hits you right away. And I feel like for some movies, like when they have that kind of in their back pocket, they'll hold it back a little bit. You know, they'll save it and they'll like build up to it, and they'll be like, "You'll never believe it," yada yada yada. But it's like first 5 minutes, we are seeing just like how like the humongous like forest, the mountains. We're seeing all of it just right away, and we are able to see the scale of it. And not just that, we're able to see the scale of like the industrialization that's already hitting as well.
Yeah,
and
the
so
giant
it's like
crater that they're like building in that we see right away.
The giant crater, the giant excavator that they're using, and like the huge truck that they're driving with the tires, and even the stuff that drives by Jake while he's after he gets off the plane and he's going on the tarmac or the road or whatever it is.
And it's got arrows in it.
Huge wheels and these huge arrows that are coming out of it. It's just
great
like
visual storytelling there.
It's like, look at it's showing us right away, and then it keeps topping itself throughout the movie, you know?
And then you hear
I can't remember.
Well, it's after you see that, and then you hear Quaritch describe the Na'vi. He goes like, their bones are dense. They dip their arrows in a neurotoxin. Like, they're very hard to kill. So we have this idea of what they are to him before we see Jake in his avatar body.
He has like the most like screenwriter-ish lines, and I said that in a good way, like in the sense that you write that and you're like, yeah, that's clever. But like, I love the like during that speech you're talking about, Cole, like if hell exists, you might want to go there after a trip on Pandora for some R&R or something like that.
I like the one where it's like, my job is to protect you. I will fail.
No, it's my job is to keep you alive. I will not succeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Not with all of you.
We'll talk about him in a bit, but yeah, he does a good
Stephen
job of
Lai.
kind of building out, Pandora there too, like the danger side of it, like in terms of like the organic life there, animals and Na'vi and plants, all that shit. And we get another aspect of it with like Norm and Grace, like the beautiful side of it, the intricate detail, like the talk about Awa, both from a spiritual sense with the Na'vi and then like a clinical scientific sense with Grace. I love that we get both. It reminded me of like the marriage of science and religion in Dune, like kind of like putting
love Dune.
Always comes back to Dune.
It doesn't, well, it should, when it can, but I find that really, and it gives depth to that aspect. It just kind of builds out the world even more, like the culture of it, like putting actual science underneath this devout religion and way of life that the Na'vi have. And it's not even to say that, oh, that means their god Awa isn't real, and it really is just because like the nerve endings under these trees or whatever, which I think is awesome, by the way. That's really cool. It still could be like God, pretty much God, for Pandora. But there's like a physiology behind God, like that's what it seems like. Another movie that does that is Prince of Darkness, but that's neither here nor there. But that's in a horror aspect that I find very fascinating. But that's what it felt like to me watching that. Is just I think Awa is one of the most unique aspects that James Cameron injects into this world, and I'm of the camp that in this world that she's actually like a conscious being, like the way that that's a great visual of Neytiri about to kill Jake without him even knowing she's there. And then that little like kind of like air jellyfish seed thing,
the sprite,
whatever they call it, lands on her arrow.
Like a sprite.
Yeah, I really
it's like a
you could say that's kind of like the no, he's the chosen one type of thing or whatever. The way that maybe like Chani in the book
White Savior
doesn't doesn't want to, that might be there. Yeah. And Dune is obviously addresses that and embraces it as like a actual clinical look at white saviorism. That's very intentional there because Paul is not the good guy. But here, Jake Sully very much is. So, this is probably not this probably doesn't hold up as well under that scrutiny as Dune would. So yeah, that might be there, but I think there is, that's
there's lines in the second where it's like, no matter how blue Jake is, he's always gonna be a white.
Corey, I just don't know.
God damn it.
I don't think your timing on the drops is quite there.
I click them, and then it takes a second, and I hate it, but
I mean,
yeah,
Zach, to say that again, the first time we see Jake in his avatar body, it's like we're along for the ride as the audience, and we're finally seeing Pandora for like what it is, because when he enters it, it's all gray, there's like this gray hue that Cameron almost injects, almost as if there's a fog over like this industrialized version of Pandora. But when he's in his body, as soon as he walks out, the color's there and he's running around, and then he sees like hot Sigourney Weaver, and he's thrown the like fruit that honestly kind of looks delicious from like in like a weird way.
She just says think fast and then like casually tosses him a fruit. It's like that wasn't that hard. But I guess this is his first time in that body, so it makes sense. But I like what you're saying, Cole, does make a lot of sense.
She makes
think
a
also from a character sense
joke later.
All right,
stop playing.
I think what you're saying there, though, Cole, makes sense.
Playing with
is that a masturbation joke?
Yeah.
Do people make masturbation jokes about going blind if you play with your dick?
Have you never heard that joke where it's like the dad says to the sons, "Stop masturbating, you'll go blind," and the son says to him, "Dad, I'm over here."
My dad never told me
that joke.
Never told me that one. No, he said do it as
Just
much as you want.
All dads say that.
He said to me. Yeah.
All dads say that.
It's awesome.
One thing neither here nor there. One thing I do love about that scene though too, Cole, is that Jake, just from a character sense, like they're like, oh, take it slow or whatever, but this guy has had no legs for the legs that don't walk. Obviously, I mean, like for however long. The second he can walk, he's going to do that. So his reaction there, from a scientific perspective, might be frustrating, but from a character sense, it's actually like it makes a lot of sense and
very satisfying.
The scene where he's like hands on the glass, and the one guy's like, "Jake, you gotta stop," and he goes, "This is great."
He's also that one guy on the other side of the glass is also in Drag Me to Hell.
But that scene works so well because it's just, I've got my legs back, I'm gonna do what I want, because he just has this big grin and he's just like, this is great.
See, but it's not that big. He just looks like averagely happy,
Well, good. He doesn't need to be like beaming up a storm like it's picture day, He's just like getting his set. Come on, like
woo! I appreciate
the first second that he can run, he runs. That is such a telling thing about the character.
I agree. I do think that was one of the good moments, but it wasn't like a huge...
Corey, you know what we should subtitle this? The shit on Sam Worthington episode.
That's fine. He made $1 billion or something from these movies.
No, he didn't. He was
going to.
Did not make $1 billion.
When it's all said and done, he might.
He doesn't get part of the gross. James Cameron's producing partner died too, so he's getting all of the money.
He's gonna be in 5 of these. He'll be fine.
So Pandora, like we're saying, really well thought out, well detailed, all that. What are some of your guys' favorite planets in sci-fi films?
In terms of,
just what do you like? Not like, oh, would you want to buy real estate there? Like, because Pandora.
I've always loved Endor, just the forest moon aspect.
Pandora is one too. Yeah.
But
of course, Endor counts.
I mean, definitely never going to fucking Arrakis if that's what you're going for, because
don't think about it. Don't think about it like you're going there. Just like, what do you think is the coolest planet to like whether it's a detail or because if we're talking about going to a planet, obviously it's Naboo. That place looks awesome. Everything there is so smooth, as Anakin tells us. But like I think honestly, Naboo actually might be my answer anyway because of the detail there between like the city and how pretty it is, and then the underwater Gungan civilization. I love all that. You gotta watch out for their senators, though. You know what I'm saying? And then that was that was a Palpatine reference.
Palpatine's from Naboo. I keep forgetting. I always forget that.
Keep forgetting that. I keep on forgetting everything. I'll just remember randomly the other day. Be like, God, oh man,
That's right.
that's right. What's that planet in? Oh, go ahead, Corey.
I was gonna say I don't know if Arrakis is up there for me because it is beautiful when they show it on like in the movie,
pretty,
but it's
especially in Dune 2.
It's pretty like kind of just sand, there's not too much else going on. There's not too much else going on with it. So it's kind of hard to put it up there with something like Pandora where there's so much going on, and I don't think there's anything that quite matches Pandora.
Zack Snyder's version of Krypton actually looks really cool.
I looked up some and that was one that came up and I can't remember specifically what it was that from that.
It was like this kind of natural futuristicness about it that I loved. It was like it was futuristic, but also there was this in tuneness with like plant life. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
What about LV-223?
What's that?
That's one of the aliens ones. That's pretty seems like a pretty bad place to be.
Star Wars has a lot. Star Wars does do. I think that's one of the good things that Star Wars is able to do.
Yeah.
They're
trying to think of
really
non-Star Wars
able to,
ones. Yeah,
I know that's the hard part. Like even in Star Trek,
the living planet.
See that one's.
That's an interesting one. I don't really love the look of it there.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's
as a
hard
concept,
I
think it's really cool. But yeah, as like actually being there, I wasn't like, man, I love hanging out in this world for this movie,
I'm trying to think what's up there with Pandora, but I think that's an unfair comparison to
Pandora is just so beautiful. And we can talk about Dagobah and we can talk about Coruscant and we can talk about Endor, but there is something about Pandora because
Dagobah,
when those planets were shot and like when we were taken there, the technology to create something and to do what they did with Pandora, like it didn't exist,
but I don't need something that looks just as good, but I feel like with Pandora, everything, like every detail was thought of.
Exactly.
So like, even if it didn't look as good, something that's like thought through.
Right.
Enough. Like I'm trying to think of something that's even close to that. And I feel like with a lot of planets, like I think Star Wars is the exception because I think Star Wars does it all the time. They always are introducing a new planet. Like even the one at the end of Last Jedi. Great. I think that one's a really cool planet. Hoth is fun, even though it's just kind of snow. It's got the same problem it's got the same problem Arrakis does. But I think the planets are pretty well thought out there.
Corey, are there any Star Trek ones? Star Trek boy?
I was gonna bring that up with Star Trek. It's very people oriented, so it's like we are this people from this planet, but the planets aren't really thought out. Besides, like they're all versions of Earth. It feels like
like Vulcan is just.
It's just like
I can't tell you like a detail about.
I'm glad Eric
Vulcan.
Bana blew it up.
Whoa!
See, but like
killed Winona Ryder, you dick.
See, but
Winona, she was on Hot Ones.
See, with that, it's very people oriented, so they don't put a lot of effort into the planets, which I guess thinking about it now is kind of a detriment to it because, like, well, come on, like you could do a little bit,
There's a joke in Community where Troy meets LeVar Burton and he goes, "It's called Star Trek, but you never went to a star, not once."
Stars are just burning balls of gas, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Troy's an idiot.
Yeah, that's the joke. He's not very bright.
I like when he says, "Well, how about I beat you like a boy?
How about I beat you like a man?"
Where do Will and Jaden go in After Earth? Is it Earth?
Yeah, they go to Earth.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't have any other ones. I think Arrakis and how it's portrayed is up there with Pandora, but I don't think anything comes close.
I love the aesthetic on Camino. And I think they build it out well in the Bad Batch. Oh,
so wet.
Camino.
So wet.
How big your pocketbook
Everything's
is.
so wet.
So wet.
Everything was wet. Sonny Gray, 2024, 25. I don't know.
Jesus. Okay, what's our next thing?
Well,
Next thing.
I think that just to kind of sum up kind of everything that we've been saying to this point is just that I think, like Corey was saying with Jake Sully, that's not a big impact there. And then people say like, oh, the story is actually like a ripoff of Dances with Wolves or Fern Gully or something. Like, okay, sure.
Or Pocahontas.
And its most basic bullet points, sure. But, a lot of stories are like that when we really get down there. There's a lot of stories that are done over and over again. Like, like Star Wars is
Why mess with
like
the
a
classic?
format. Right, exactly. Like Star Wars is a story format that you could probably look at in so many other, that's why they call it the hero's journey. There's stuff like that. I mean, it's a format, whatever. I don't care that it's that similar to Dances with Wolves because the environment is so unique and different and singular in the sense that like just how lived in it feels. Like that's the appeal. And also, like I said with AWA thing, like the sci-fi concept of putting your consciousness into a local alien like version of yourself is so cool. I think that itself kind of like compensates for any familiarity with the basic plot points of the story. And, the concept of AWA, like I said, like downloading memories and feelings into like an inner network underground on this planet. That's really cool. Like again, there's so much creativity here that just because the basic bones of the story are, similar to other things, I think it's a really reductive way to look at the movie and just kind of like say, oh, it's a ripoff of blah blah blah.
I have a question for you along those lines. They spend a lot of time going through the science of things, like specifically if we at the very beginning of the movie. Also, I wrote this down. Where does that guy get off calling Jake Sunshine when he wakes him up? That was just a side thought I had. It's like, good morning, sunshine. It's like, get out of here. Anyway, like the plot is very simple, and they spend a lot of time kind of explaining the science behind things. Specifically with the avatars that they brought over, they're like, whoa, those are big, and it's like, yeah, we had to grow them throughout, like all that kind of stuff. Kind of explaining
fully
it.
Matured on the flight out.
But they're not like getting way too into it. But there is a lot to explain on this planet, where you at least have to give like a basic explanation so people are caught up. I think in Way of Water, they're doing that a little bit more as well. Do you wish that they would have spent less time on that and maybe a little bit more time on the story? Or do you think that, and I'm not trying to change the story like a ton, but like maybe adding a couple more beats here and there and then not worrying about the science stuff and just kind of saying, don't think about it or something like that? Or does it make it a better experience, them explaining it, even if it might be a little clunky in parts? I don't think it was ever really clunky by any means, but I think you run the risk of that when you are explaining science jargon a little bit. Did it help having that because it's like, oh, they did put at least thought and detail into this? Or would you rather them entertain you with story more?
I think the story works in what it does, which is, this narrative of this guy who's part of a system and like decides to buck the system and move forward with like becoming part of this thing that he was trying to destroy. I think that works, but I think it all comes together because this movie focuses on world building in a very good way that the story almost takes a back seat to being in this world and experiencing this world and the things they come back to in the second one, because it is, this is, Cameron even said like after the first one, he's like, yeah, I'm making 5. So this movie is a world building story in kind of the best sense of the word, but it's just, yeah. I think.
So the science stuff doesn't bother you?
Yeah, the science stuff doesn't bother me because
and you don't wish they would have spent less time doing it. The science stuff doesn't bother me either. I just thought of it because of what Zach brought up.
I think it's like the perfect amount of time because they never harp on it.
Yeah, that's true.
There's shots of the needle going in the grain and then Grace, so we should take a sample. I love when she talks about her samples. It's gosh. It's so cute.
Relax. Put it back in your pants.
Hey, that's my thing. But yeah, it doesn't diminish the plot. at all.
No, I'm not trying to say it diminishes it. I was just more saying, like, this is a long movie.
This is a very long movie.
But I don't think, I think it earns its time pretty well. Even for, like, as Zach, as you said.
Oh my God, he's back.
Zach, as you said, the movie, even though the plot is pretty simple, I think it earns its time. And I don't think it necessarily goes too long or it feels like it's stretching. But, I mean...
Doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, but I also don't... I wonder if there's a version of this where you could have added more of the science to it, because I think all that stuff is impressive. But like as I said, I watched this one and then I watched Way of Water, and there was like a time, not to talk about Way of Water at all, but there was a time during that where what was it? They were whale. It was when they were hunting the whale.
The
Payukan?
Talkin.
The Tolkun.
Well, that was his name.
Tolkun.
Tolkun. But anyway,
Payakan was
his name. It was his name. But anyway,
he killed the other Tolkun.
No, not talking about it, but they were going through every single step and why they were doing every single step. And that was the only time in these two movies, which comes to about 6 hours of movie runtime, that I felt like it was kind of clunky in what they were doing in the explanation. But it was also like, okay, they actually thought out how they're going to defeat this guy, and like it was entertaining to know that much detail was put into it and thought out. So I think there is a balance in there. But you're right, Zach. I think you're right. I don't think the story itself, I don't think it necessarily needs to be something groundbreaking, brand new. Because I mean, if you're doing something well and you're doing enough things different, then like that's all I want at the end of the day is to be entertained. That's why I watch these movies, and they deliver on that.
They surely do.
What was it? Dancing with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Plays with Squirrels.
Proper. When creating a snowman,
that was a Boy Meets World reference. I want to clarify that was a Boy Meets World reference, and I wasn't making fun of like Native American like nomenclature or something.
I was trying to come up with a different title. That's why I said creating a snowman.
Sorry. It was a deep cut Boy Meets World season 8 reference.
Eric,
everyone knows that.
Mr. Squirrels.
No.
Season 7.
No.
Zach, season 7.
No.
My bad.
Yeah.
My deepest apologies.
But if that movie also entertains, then why does it matter if it's the same story? Like I think we get into that, but we've gotten into that multiple times because we're a movie franchise podcast where we fall into one movie franchise has the same story over and over again. And I think at that point it gets redundant, but I think that's also because they're doing a lot of things similar from one movie to the next. I want to talk about the relationships between...
So, Corey, in the deleted scene, you do see them.
I want to talk about the relationships in this movie. I want to talk about the relationships in this movie.
That is canon, though. That is canon. What? I don't care if it's deleted scene. That's canon. That's obviously what they did. They touched their tails.
Intertwine.
Well, I'm not upset with that.
We don't kink shame.
Whoa. I want to talk about the relationships in this movie because I feel like they're very one-sidedly thought out. And I think it is going off, we talked about this earlier with Norm. Cole, you brought up Norm. When Jake was like, Norm's coming around. So easy. Oh, how's that Norm thing? Oh, super easy. Barely an inconvenience, Like, that's kind of how it felt when he was like, Norm's coming around. He thinks I'm an idiot. LOL. And then we just move on. So it's like, I feel like with the Na'vi, the relationships are much deeper and we get a lot more from them. The relationships with the humans, even like Grace, Jake Sully when he is as a human, Norm, Trudy, Max.
We don't spend that time with. That's the thing. We spend time with Jake and Neytiri. We get snippets.
Okay,
it's my argument with the science thing.
Okay, but even with Neytiri and her parents, even with Neytiri and the chief, the next in line to the chief, Sute, I feel like those relationships make more sense. And I feel like we spend just as much time with Neytiri and them or Jake and them as we do with Jake and Grace or Jake and Norm or Jake and Max or Jake and Trudy, or Jake and Quaritch, which, Quaritch is maybe a little bit better, but it just feels like I don't know. I feel like they really focused on the relationships with the Na'vi, and they didn't focus a ton on the relationships with humans.
Yeah.
So
you could tell James Cameron is more
I don't
interested
know.
in the Na'vi as a concept than the human characters, for sure.
Yeah.
With the exception of
and
maybe
I think-
Quaritch. Honestly, like you said, I think Quaritch is actually probably the most fleshed out human character in the movie. But
Right, that's kind of why I had like the I don't know, because I think he is pretty good. It's like
again,
a
it's just
positive of this movie.
I'm not saying
Like
it's,
Selfridge is
I'm not gonna make an excuse
corporate,
for what you're saying.
corporate stooge.
I don't think he's corporate. Quaritch definitely doesn't seem like he's like, oh, a company man.
Selfridge.
Oh, I thought you said
main guy.
Quaritch. I thought you said
I love
Quaritch.
this putter.
Love this putter, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yes,
I
sir.
Yeah,
enjoy him
sir.
in his
No,
screen
you
time.
didn't.
I do enjoy his line deliveries.
He looks like he's coming around at the end, then never does.
Well,
and then kind of makes
you
a very
can-
ominous statement.
I
to
kind
finish
of
off the
like
movie.
that though. If he came around, I wouldn't really buy that. I wouldn't buy that. You can be a corporate guy who sees dollar signs first and still be slightly uncomfortable with the atrocities that are being committed for that dollar sign.
Yeah, but
still,
then he has
not
the
be.
bow. He has the bow and arrow in his office. He knows where it's.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like not everyone needs to be redeemed, but just because you're not going to be redeemed doesn't mean you can't show some discomfort with what's going on. And if anything, maybe that's an argument that he's even worse than Quaritch, because he somewhere in him, by his reactions to these things or his initial apprehension of doing it, he knows it's wrong, and he knows that this is bad. Yet he allows it anyway. Like, whereas Quaritch just completely dehumanizes the Na'vi and just doesn't. He sees them as less than, and it's a job to do. He doesn't see it as right or wrong. Whereas it looks like Giovanni Ribisi, or I don't know if that's how you say his last name. Like, that's he has the moral qualms, but just does it. He just does it anyway. So I like that. We don't get overexposed to that character, and we don't give him a whole redemption subplot. Like, again, thank God, and I'm glad he didn't come back in like Way of Water as like a, I'm good now. Like that stuff would annoy me.
He's
Fire Nash,
basically
we'll see.
replaced by he's replaced by Edie Falco as like exposition machine to
man,
why
we'll talk
they
about her
need
in the next
to
one.
do.
But yeah, can't get too much in the way of water.
Yeah, Zach. Female generals terrible. Only
That's
men in the army.
Not the issue there. But that's. I think Corey. I totally get what you're saying with the human characters, but like again, they're just not. Again, this is not me making an excuse. I'm just saying this is why this movie's as it is. And it's a long movie. It's a 2-hour 45 minutes. We don't have too much space here to add more. They're just not the stars of the movie. That's not why you're going to see Avatar. And maybe there's a better movie where the screen time they do have is more clever or finds more effective ways to build the characters. But I don't need more screen time for Norm to have like a payoff to the Norm being upset thing. I just think it's a natural like thing for him to be annoyed that this thing he has studied years for, and then Jake shows up and just stumbles into it completely unprepared or unappreciative of the opportunity, and to be annoyed by that, annoyed by Jake's ignorance. But still, because Norm's a reasonable adult, he can just come around to it and just realize after time that, he can be Jake's. It's not like Jake did something wrong and that he can get over it. Like I don't need to see a whole
I'm not
come
saying
to
that's
Jesus
not
moment
real.
for him there, but
What's the line
I'm not
that he
saying that
has
it's not
when they're
realistic.
hopping in the things? It's Norm's talking about how many hours it's logged, and Jake pokes like the flubber and just goes, "I read a manual."
Why'd you ask us what the line was? You obviously knew it.
line boy.
Yeah.
Give me that line, boy.
What was the line, boy? That was a good little deep cut reference there, Cole. That was that A Nightmare Cometh little line? Line boy?
Give me that line, boy.
Line boy's on fire.
It's not that I
Boy.
didn't think that it was realistic. It's not that I didn't, I guess, buy it. It's just that the movie, it's the movies, it's movies. You're supposed to be, things are dramatized. You're supposed to see conflict. They had a conflict where, like, kind of an inner, within the team, and they just kind of ignored it. And it would have been interesting to see them, like, work through that or deal with that. Or maybe, like, Jake has to lend out an olive branch to show that he is learning. And then Norm's like, okay, maybe he is a good guy. But it's just that Jake's still struggling after all this time. And he's just like, well, I'm going to come around because, like, I guess I'm here for it, like to do a job. So it's like it doesn't matter that much.
When
But
he
it's like,
says,
I wish I would have seen something. I want some sort of resolution to it.
When
Because that's
he's-
what movies are. That's what
Corey,
movies are.
when he says he's
know.
coming around, he's coming around to like start helping him with shit. It doesn't mean like
They seem like friends
they're
at the end, which is
buddy.
good. I like that they're
No,
friends. I don't want them to not be
because
friends.
like Norm's like describing like the I see you.
I see you. Yes.
I see you. Like
see
he's
Yeah,
describing
he's
that.
frustrated, but
And,
he's still reasonable. I mean, again,
Yeah, he's not gonna be like
right.
a dick. He's gonna be like, Jake, I'm gonna help you
to
out
wrap up the Norm
because-
discussion, because this is probably the most
Yeah,
anyone's
we
talking
don't.
about Norm and Avatar 2009 ever.
Well, it's
I
more
think-
about the relationship.
I get what you're saying, Corey, that is movies and it's conflict
Adios,
resolution.
Jared Nuggets.
But line boy, that's enough. What I'm, I think it's see, Cole, this is what happens. Now my point's gone. But do we really? I get that you want to get resolution for this small subplot that's mentioned, and it makes sense. But it's just like, do we really care that much about Norm being upset in the whole scheme of Avatar 2009? Do we really need
No.
runtime to
I
like
don't.
show Norm's?
But Corey wants it.
I'm
He
using
wants
it as an example of a bigger issue within the human relationships in our relationship.
I get what you're saying. That is true. And you know what? Honestly, maybe this would help the Jake Sully problem. I think maybe, if we were going to add a human on human scene, and I mean that in the platonic way, or maybe not, who knows? And maybe instead of a Norm and Jake moment where they kind of come to terms with each other, maybe maybe even another scene between Quaritch and Jake, relating more on their military pasts or whatever. And that would make the eventual Jake turning on Quaritch moment later even more, satisfying or, just, dramatic, at least is what I mean. And if we,
Like that, yeah.
if we want
To add to that
Yeah.
scene they have at the table
Mhm.
where Jake's like describing how he has to do this like last thing with the Na'vi, and Quaritch finally sees, he's like, oh, he's not mine anymore, he's theirs.
That's a good point, Cole. And I think the last two things I really want to talk about this movie are kind of two branches of this topic, because on one hand, I do think Quaritch, like you said, Corey, or like that he's probably the most interesting human character here. I love him as an antagonist in this movie. I think Stephen Lang is great. I think it's because he's, like I said, he has like the most like movie lines that I enjoy in the movie. And you can understand why he inspires the loyalty he does for those who are on the same page as him. He says to Jake, like, I take care of my own, and you can tell that he does value his soldiers. He does. Yeah. He's not like a general who's just like, I don't care, go in there. He's not Ramsey Bolton, with his army. Right. Like, who cares if I take losses? He understands.
He's like, I'll go head first.
Yeah, like he's there on the front. He's never like back at base camp telling people to go. Like he's there in the ships with them. He's on the ground level. He's part of the assault, and he's tough, and he believes in what he's doing, and he believes in loyalty, which is probably why when Jake, and we could talk about this more in the second one with their relationship, when Jake betrays him, that's why there's a deep anger toward Jake. It's not like, oh, he's just in my way. It's a betrayal, it's like, okay, Jake betrayed me. I was going to do this for him. I trusted him. He has turned on me. Like, it's not, oh, he's turned his back on the company. That's not like it's not like, oh, Jake betrayed the company's like financial interest. That's why I got to get him. It's Jake betrayed me and, the men and the women, the military aspect of this operation. I think that's just part of why I enjoy Quaritch so much, and like that relationship. And then on the other side of it, I do think what does work in terms of relationships, Jake is, I think you put it here, or at least, or Cole did, I don't know, in our little docket, is Jake and Natiri's relationship. When I tell you that I don't know what the feeling is, I don't know how to put a word to the feeling, okay? When at the end of the movie, and we've seen them together as in their Na'vi bodies or whatever, but at the end of the movie,
she's holding
when she
his
goes
body
in there and cradles his little human body,
Jake!
his little paralyzed human body in her arms, that is, I don't know what the emotion is, but I'm overcome with it. It's like it's feeling so small in her hands. Maybe because part of me wants that for myself. Feel teeny tiny.
There's also the simplicity of the way they cup each other's faces like with one hand, and they're just like
cup each other.
I see you.
Yeah, I do. I agree, Cole. I do really enjoy that. part.
And you can see like tears welling up in her eyes, and she doesn't even care that he's not a Na'vi like in this form. She knows he's him because like she loves him, and she's like, that just, I see you.
That is so sweet. Their relationship is, I mean, it's not like the
And, like,
most fleshed out,
that,
charismatic relationship in movies, but that, I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely one of the most interesting in terms of like a human and alien's body that, they have to overcome their differences on that part. And then she, goes from resentment to, kind of like caution. I don't know. To actually like loving him, and then vice versa. And I don't know. I think
I love, there's moments where like you see it, like the first time she introduces Jake to Seize, and she like gives him like the little joke, which is like, don't look in her eye. And then as soon as like they're getting ready for the Banshee stuff, but my favorite one is when they're doing the bow and arrow, and like she starts getting a little close to his face, and he kind of like gives her a look, and like chemistry just jumps out and like hits you in the face.
I like that. I like when she smacks the hell out of his elbow when they're like adjusting his form on the the bow and arrow.
I will say, yeah, it's just God, that
Tyrion, that bow.
But
Baller.
that moment I love is when like Jake's trying to defend himself, and like I'm sure you guys have seen the clip of Zoe Saldana just doing the performance capture. You hurt for her so much because you can tell that she like loves him. She loves him just so much, and like the screaming, and the most hurtful thing she can say is, "You will never be one of the people." Like that. Oh God!
And he said, "Want to bet?"
Great.
That's.
I'm gonna go ride Taruk, baby.
Who's Taruk? Corey, do you have any thoughts on Jake and Neytiri's relationship?
Yeah, I think I kind of went through it. I think that's one of the. It's on the side of the very positive relationships. I mean, it's the relationships that's definitely the most fleshed out. We see a lot of it. We kind of go through the entire roller coaster with them, from the very rocky beginning to the heartfelt end. So I really like it. I think that's one of the positives of the movie. You guys say jumping with chemistry. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Jumping with chemistry. It's not the most.
I said the chemistry jumps off the screen
and smacks you in the face. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it's that like that being so great, but I think they're both. I think they are great together. I just don't know.
It's a couple that I like to root for because I love to see a boring white guy win. That's yeah. I like to see him get what he wants. Yeah,
it's about time.
Totally.
But yeah, I think I think that goes to my initial point about Jake too. Like, it's nothing against her. It's nothing against their relationship. It's just like I don't know. It's part of the reason that I didn't necessarily buy him. But I really liked him in this. I really liked their relationship, and I think they were great together. I wouldn't want it any other way, but yeah, it's kind of how it is. So that leads us to the final battle.
I actually, rewatching this, the final battle is honestly really, really depressing. Like the start.
You don't like it when the humans
battle,
have to go home and the
no,
the natives
the
kick them out.
first part where it's like the Na'vi are just so outgunned throughout this and. God damn it.
What are you referring to?
Corey just changed Cole's name in the Riverside video chat to Poops on Dogs. For the audio people at home.
Zach changed mine to Line Boy.
I didn't change anyone's.
That was
Corey did all
that
of
was
it.
also me.
Corey did all of it.
No, I just texted Zach, stop changing my name, fucker. But
I don't have that jurisdiction.
Poops on Dogs is insane.
You can do that, Zach.
You can do it.
Don't tell me that. That's dangerous.
Was that better timing? Did I get it there? I'm getting closer.
Get your point out. Give your take.
Yeah. Does like the death of Trudy and the death of Sute and Norm losing his avatar body in that moment where Jake is just begging Neytiri, like, please do not attack. Do not attack. Do you read me? That's an order. Do not attack. And then when Awa finally comes in after Jake's prayer, which I honestly love more now, even when I'm in nature and I come home, nature's just awesome. Jake gives that plea to Awa, which is, if you can see what I've seen, you know there is no green where they're from. Like, he's talking about industrialization, and it's just so interesting to see that, like, this big triumphant thing where it's like it's like what you said, Zach. Awa is real, and Natiri screams it like so loud. Awa has heard you. So does this sort of death and this downtroddenness that starts the battle work to the benefit of this triumphant turn that it takes for the Na'vi?
Yeah, I mean, totally. Everyone who doesn't love an underdog, and obviously they're outgunned, from a technology standpoint, but they have their environment on their side, and it's not like a totally novel concept. We've seen this plenty of times with just again, it's the underdog thing, but also I think it's double satisfying to see the humans get beat back by the Na'vi. Because their own tendencies here are reflective of, things that we see in real life, obviously, in the world in terms of industrialization and greed and all that, and just abusing resources and the planet, and just not respecting cultures. It's something that we see all the time. So it's double satisfying to see it even in this fictional story on this fictional planet, to see the Na'vi, beat back the humans.
So yes, it is satisfying to see them win, and I think it does add to the triumph, but it also is throughout the movie, because we are so ingrained in Awa and told the story, and we're shown how the planet kind of interacts with itself, basically, the plant life to the animals, how everything kind of interacts. It makes the final battle, every single time a ship crashes down to the ground and destroys a tree or something, it feels like that is just as much of a loss as when Trudy dies or when Sute dies. And I think that part, even though they win, it's hard to move past it almost. It's hard to ignore that. And it's hard to take this as a full win, because not only did they lose Sute, who was you coming into it, you're okay, this is probably gonna be a main character moving forward if you knew that there were gonna be other movies after that. And he gets a pretty unceremonial death. And so does Trudy, to an effect. Hers is more of that's the turning point, oh no, we're losing,
I'm going down, Jake.
Yeah, and then she gets blown up, and it's then the music starts getting really grim, and then we start seeing more of the side the other Na'vi who we don't know, that we start seeing more of them shot down. But when the huge ship crashes, yes, it missed the tree, the soul tree.
Tree of Souls.
It missed the main target, but it's hitting all this other stuff that you're geez, they are taking heavy losses.
Yeah.
And so I think the depressing kind of takes over a little bit more than you want it to, but I think that is also a positive to show how good of a storytelling they were.
Yeah, honestly, it's
Anyway.
because James Cameron obviously cares a lot about the environment in the story. So you're saying, every little part of the ecosystem that is burned up in this battle, it does feel like a loss. And say with me now, because we've talked about this with other things in a negative sense, stakes. It does feel like it has stakes. Everything has stakes. Even the win isn't 100% a win because of the losses you took. Whereas, other movies it feels like nothing matters because so much is happening. So much is happening here, but we never lose sight of where our characters are, what they're doing, the impact of what's happening in the battle. It's all very tangible. It feels like it matters. And the action is shot very cohesively, even in this is all mocap in a world that doesn't exist, so it's all digital and stuff. It's hard to keep my thoughts when Corey keeps changing people's names and Cole can't contain himself.
It's Cole! Cole's doing it. He's laughing at
Cole's
himself.
injecting little giggles into the thoughts that I'm trying to get out. So
We changed my name to on the list.
James Cameron knows how to shoot action in a very, I mean, it's hard to say tangible because again, it's not real, but it's honestly probably the most tangible, at least at this point in time. Obviously, I think the second one surpasses it, but like most tangible CGI I've ever seen to this point, in time at least. It never feels like you're watching gobbledygook, even with all this stuff happening. I do think that this climax is really exciting. And all the action is really cool. Like it's for a movie that's like really cool, like, sci-fi concepts and stuff to this point and very cool visuals. It's not like there's a ton of action until the climax. It really is like the actual like action part of the movie is all in the last third. So like that, and I think it totally delivers so well to the point where you don't feel cheated by that aspect at all.
What is it? Like the only real like action is him running from what the hell is
like
that
animals?
thing
Yeah, like that little jaguar looking thing. I don't know.
It's not little, but
I don't know. I mean, it's a good Dark Night of the Soul part that you're talking about there, Cole, with just like how bad things look for a bit there at the end. Like there's a great shot, and this goes into the environmental aspect of it, just like destroying this nature. It's just like there's a great
the horse running.
Yes, the horse running on fire. That's exactly what I wrote down, Cole. So like that's I really am I'm big fan of the visuals there at the end.
Yeah.
And also it's just just the choreography too of like that final moment of like Quaritch and Jake fighting. And then, he has Jake at the neck with the knife, and then just how satisfying it is to have Neytiri shoot like giant ass arrow into his chest.
You know what line I do love? And Sam Worthington does these little ones just so well, and they're not even cheesy, but it's over, Quaritch, and he goes, "Nothing's over while I'm breathing." Jake's simple. I was hoping you'd say that.
I'll tell you what, without saying the line, because we're not there yet, there is a very similar moment between those two characters in the next one where Jake's response
and it's even better.
It's even better. I get hype as hell with that next one.
Just the simplicity of it and the way Sam Worthington delivers them. I mean, but yeah, it's over, Quaritch. Just
totally.
Was hoping you'd say that.
Mm-hmm.
I might watch the second one after we get off this. Honestly, it's getting me pumped.
It makes you want to.
Well, talking about it's just fun. Even though you guys called one of the sons Mateo after the movie for like 30 minutes, I'm like, that wasn't the character's name.
Well, to help you watch it even sooner, let's move on to award season.
Apparently they strayed off course, and we're fairly certain they're in guerrilla hands.
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for? Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Can I go first?
I don't know if you looked at the document.
Can I go? Oh, good. I go second.
So I go last.
And then you'll move up and you'll go second next time.
I know he's going to take mine. Or he's going to take mine.
Or you're going to take mine. It's a game. I'm going to take Zoe Saldana.
Son of a bitch!
I mentioned this that the Na'vi relationships are much more thought out and much more in depth than the human relationships. And you know what? I think Zoe Saldana has a big part to play in that. I think the way she interacts with people, the way she kind of shows the character is very, very effective. Not just from her her relationship with Awa, but also like the emotion she shows when something happens, and to like really personify that relationship. It's so effective, and it's so emotional. I don't think there's anything close in either of these movies that's at like as emotionally impactful as Zoe Saldana is in either of them.
Yeah,
any point.
I think
so. She is my MVP.
To that point, Corey, I like in terms of the emotion that she has to sell. On both sides of it, like there's you think of her as like this super serious warrior or whatever, but that moment when her and Jake, like when he becomes part of the tribe or whatever, and she talks about how he'll have a role or whatever, and he can pick a woman or whatever, and then he's they're kind of flirting in the way that where he's like, well, I've already picked one or whatever, and she's listing names,
but she must choose me,
and when he just keeps saying like, oh, I don't want blah blah blah, and like there's a part where she like kind of like smile laughs there, where she like she probably kind of already knew, but like that's like the confirmation right there that he's talking about her. there's something really sweet there. And then on the complete opposite side of that is like I don't remember. There's different parts when her father dies or when home tree is destroyed. Both devastating moments, and it's not like a movie version that like a typical thing we'd see in movies with like main characters where it's like a, for lack of a better term, like a pretty cry, like a soft kind of whimpering. It is a raw like outcry.
Ugly.
I mean, yeah, for lack of a better term, you could call it an ugly cry. Like it is just like a really raw, like you are feeling that pain in that type of vocal delivery that she's giving there. Just I don't know.
That's why she got the Oscar.
Yeah, I don't know if she did get an Oscar for this one, but we'll say the visual.
She got an Oscar.
We'll say that her performance contributed to the visual effects getting an Oscar because that obviously the mocap did very well capturing that performance. Corey, obviously that was going to be my MVP as well. Don't know if you could tell there. So I'll go with my second pick and
Corey, don't you love when you pick an MVP and Zach?
No, that's fair. If you have something special to say, and I don't,
because she was my main MVP too. So I was saving some bits there, hoping that I'd get her. I'm gonna take who the other person I thought Corey might take, and I'm gonna say Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang for all the reasons we talked about as Quaritch. Could have saved him for the second one maybe, but I think seeing him.
Why did you think I was going to take him?
Because I thought, literally like you said, he's the human character that you said worked for you. Don't look too hard into it. You literally said that he was the human character that worked for you. So for all the reasons I said, I think he is a charismatic villain in the sense that, like I said, you can see why people would be loyal to him. You can see like that kind of cult of personality that he can have to take people under his wing and inspire, like any good military leader would have to have. I just think he does an awesome job here where it's one of those villains that we talk about where you hate him, but you love it when he's on screen. And that is the best types of villains like that.
That's for sure.
Totally sad. Anytime where he's on screen, he's just commanding that screen or whatever. And, Jake, honestly, the moments where I feel the most underwhelmed with Jake, at least in human form, is the scenes where he shares with Quaritch, because it literally is because he is such a big screen presence in those moments that it just makes Sam Worthington a little lackluster in that sense. And I like Jake Sully.
You get soft.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Pandora will eat you up and spit you out like juju beans.
Yeah, thank you, Line Boy. He is just so dialed up. And that is, I'm just a huge fan of Stephen Lang in that. Go watch Don't Breathe for more Stephen Lang content.
Oh yeah.
Very different performance and very different character.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He was the original Colonel Jessup when A Few Good Men was on Broadway.
I did not know that. He also has a small role in Michael Mann's Manhunter, the first Hannibal Lecter film. Big fan of, highly recommend.
Plays are also on Broadway, Corey, not just...
Wow.
Colt,
Playboy.
Who's your MVP?
Did
feel
you
like he was
guys,
trying to big man me.
It did feel.
you guys got two. Oh, fuck off.
I felt the attempt. Tell it, Austin. You're the one who did it.
I'm going to go Marjorie Simpkin. She is the casting director. I don't think a role or character is wasted here. And part of these big productions is finding someone to put all of these characters in the movie, and she does a great job of that. Obviously, the director has final say, and a guy like James Cameron does have final say because this is his property. But, somebody has to find the talent. I said this with Sarah Haley Finn. For Guardians of the Galaxy, there is always a second option. Marjorie Simpkin, like Sarah Haley Finn, finds the best option.
Blues suck, dude. I mean, again, up 2-0, give up the lead, and then lose in overtime. Tired of it. You just can't do it. And yet they get a point each time, though, in these overtime losses, to where you're still you're not out of it.
It counts.
You're not out of it, but it's not passing the smell test, man. It's just so frustrating. So fucking frustrating. Whatever.
You guys want to move on to the review sections.
Says that they insist on outside opinions.
What kind of opinions?
Well, your kind, not to put too fine a point on it. I mean, let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Yeah. I mean,
the puck luck will bounce our way.
You take, I guess, in a vacuum, you take a 1 point in Philadelphia against a good Flyers team. You do that. You do take that. Yes, you do. What about you, Rudovich? You make that deal?
I make that deal.
I don't know if it's Rudovich. Is that his name? It's something like that.
That's racist.
All right.
Cole, why don't you go?
As a wise man once said, James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron. 4.5 out of 5.
I thought about that one. Yeah, it's a South Park. It's a good South Park bit. It's funny because it's a ridiculous line, but yet, and it doesn't really say anything, but yet it does make sense. It really does. Like, yeah, that is what it is.
Who's next?
Who's next?
Oh, I'm next. A movie that you will want to watch time and time again without getting bored at all. Even though the main character is a bit one-dimensional, the visuals sure are not. 4 out of 5.
I have 2 different ones here, and I wrote one, and I'm like, that's stupid. And then I wrote another one that's shorter and simpler, and they both say the same thing, okay? So I'm going to workshop them both with you guys here. All right? I'll do the longer one first.
Okay, good.
Avatar has no cultural footprint, and it's just Dances with Wolves, and Jake Sully is a boring protagonist. And I think it's stupid that Awa is both God and planetary database of memories and feelings. And I'm a loser, and I hate cool things, and I stand in the aisle right away, even when I'm in the back of the plane when deboarding starts. 4.5 out of 5. All right, and here's the other one that says pretty much the same thing. If you don't like this movie, you need to grow up and stop trying so hard to impress people. 4.5 out of 5.
That one felt targeted.
Enemy of the pod, Adam.
He's an enemy of the pod.
You know, Cole, I did like your James. The James Cameron line is potent, like I said, but I do think just a soft tease. I do think maybe in the Fire and Ash portion, we're gonna have a nice career talk about James Cameron because it'll be interesting to discuss whether, as much as we like these movies.
12?
Oh, dude, less than that, man. It'll be interesting to discuss if James Cameron devoting the last 30 years, or I guess 28 years since Titanic, once this year when Fire Ash comes out, the last 28 years of his career to making Avatar films is like if we would take that over him just making whatever standalone movie every 4 to 5 years. Right, sure.
Jack's back.
Yeah. So
you guys remember that fake trailer?
I do remember that, actually. Yeah, I do remember that where they used footage from like Austin Powers and Catch Me If You Can and stuff. Yeah.
They used one from the Incredible Hulk, or the Hulk, like the Ang Lee Hulk.
On to the post-credit scene.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
Jack's back.
Corey, what James Cameron films have you not seen? I'm curious.
James Cameron films are there?
Let me go through them for you. I'll go through them for you in order. And he'd made his first movie was technically Piranha 2, sequel to like a B movie that, cult B movie that, is not really his baby or whatever, and he might not have had control, whatever. Either way, it doesn't really get counted. I haven't seen that one. The first James Cameron movie, as we know James Cameron, based off of his own idea and him in control. The first Terminator. Then he used that success to make Aliens.
Seen that.
And then he made The Abyss, which is probably the most James Cameron movie I've ever seen.
Seen part of that.
We can talk more about that with Way of Water because they're very. We'll just talk about it then. Then he made Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
I've seen that.
Love that money. True Lies.
Very funny.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Corey. If I could give you any homework before at least Fire and Ash, I really want to talk about True Lies with you.
Okay, I'll add it to my watch list.
really, and I think you'll really like it.
What is True Lies streaming on?
It might not be.
It
Might
is
have
not.
to rent it, Corey.
It is.
It is only for rent, and I am poor.
Corey, I just paid for my car. You can get that movie.
Stop throwing your dead car in our face. Used it for your next.
It's alive now.
Use it as an excuse when you were late on the pod.
Well, you're right. I don't have any other expenses except your car.
Though I do agree with Cole that if you're gonna, I saw that you saw a movie that I won't step on your reveal, but there you could have rented True Lies probably 3 times and the price that it costs for you to go see this new movie, and it's probably way better.
But that's not worth it for it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
All right. Either way, and then obviously True Lies, it's Titanic, and then after Titanic,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
know.
Avatar films. So yeah, has not made many movies. Terminator is 1984. How many movies did I just list? How many movies has he made since 1984?
1, 2,
Not
3,
many.
4,
9,
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Since
Way of
1984.
Way of Water is 8. I'll put The Abyss on my watch list too.
I am
it's
more
like
confident
him
that
and
you'd
Nick-
like True Lies, but I won't stop you from watching.
I was gonna
It's
say if
him
I only have
and-
one more to kind of complete the James Cameron.
Well, it's him and
Arc.
Tarantino who are like the guys who like they write and direct all their movies, so they're very intentional. You got Fincher, and Fincher does, I would say, put out a higher rate of film just because he's only directing these movies. David Fincher doesn't write his movies.
That's a good take.
Steven Spielberg contributes to some scripts, but he doesn't write his movies. Like
Yeah, there's more prolific
says-
in that sense, but also like the movies where it's a writer and director, maybe you even feel more of their specific stamp on it, like a Tarantino,
Scorsese.
This says that
Scorsese
James
right?
He
Cameron.
doesn't. Not really.
This says
That's
that
what
James
I'm-
Cameron directed the Billie Eilish "Hit Me Hard and Soft" tour film. Is that right?
softcore film.
There's a
So you just
Billie
said yes.
Eilish softcore film. Is that what you're saying, Cole?
So you just didn't listen to what I said.
Guys, something just came. I'm sorry, I gotta log off really quick. Something just came up really urgently, and I need to go. I'm sorry.
Zach, what have you been watching? What movies have you
Besides
seen
Billie
since
Eilish
last time?
softcore, is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
You act like it's not funny. It's funny.
You can cut that joke out.
That's funny, but you rubbing your nipples is not funny.
Well, they can see it now.
All right.
Now you're gonna get a text, Zach. You're gonna get a text tomorrow morning. Hey, can you cut that part out?
You cut.
Why do I sound like a sad tree in your
That's how I picture you texting
When you're-
oh, hey.
Yeah, I was gonna say specifically for that instance.
I was
That's how you sound.
unhealthily anxious at the times.
You're a much
So
more
you're not gonna
healthy.
text Zach.
You're a much more healthy.
Much more healthy version of anxious.
No. Good. It's okay, Cole. I'm actually gonna take your side here and say, Corey, maybe I don't know if that joke's as funny as I thought it was when I said it. I'm gonna take it out. But what did I watch? Was that your question? Is that your question, Corey?
Yes,
I guess.
outside of what was the film you brought up before?
Actually, there wasn't.
What
a
have you been
title to
watching,
it.
Zach?
Well, I did go see something, but I feel like it's gonna be way more relevant in a different episode. But
Say it in the next episode.
yeah, sure. Well, I guess I'll say what it is now. Who cares? And I just won't talk about it, obviously. But I did see Wake Up Dead Man.
I got that, man.
I'm lucky enough to have a British roommate, and my British roommate is in BAFTA, which is like a British film thing. And so he got an early screening to Wake Up Dead Man, and with a nice little Q&A after with, Mila Kunis and Ryan Johnson and Kaylee Spaney, which was a surprise to me. Didn't know she'd be there, of Alien
That's
Romulus fame. And Josh
British
O'Connor.
Academy Film and Television Awards.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that was, you know what? I liked it. And I'll just say that. I'll just say that.
Big news.
I know.
Big news coming out of this.
Yeah, maybe we'll
this
talk about
pod.
Border with Glass
Zach
Onion or
liked
the
it.
Wake Up Dead Man thing. What I don't know. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
I'm excited to see it. I'm
what
looking forward
else?
to it. I was trying to get early screening too. I had a connection to one of the producers through work, and I was trying to get an early screening, and I couldn't.
I saw K-pop Demon Hunters finally. I watched it with. I visited.
Oh, thank God!
I visited.
I'm going up, da, 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 da. I don't know the actual words, but it's catchy.
That's it. I went and I visited my friend Toby while he was visiting his daughter, and she was insistent that I watch it because she's obsessed with it, and I hadn't seen it, and it immediately became the docket of the evening. So we got to that right away, and I was happy with it.
It's good.
I was happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and I'm like,
I'm gonna see what you
myself
rated
and
it.
I'm enjoying it, and I got to see its target audience watching it next to me, completely obsessed with it. Her dad having to tell her to lock in, to stop singing the songs as they were happening, and like trying to spoil it. I would hear her whisper things to him like, "Can I tell him?" Blah blah blah, and he's like, "No, he's watching it. He's watching it. Like he's gonna find out. Don't spoil it." And he had to tell his 5-year-old daughter to chill out.
Can I tell him?
I would hear that happening right next to me, and I'm just like,
she's becoming a film buff.
She was. It was cute. But her enthusiasm, you know, K-pop Demon Hunt, you can kind of predict where it's not one of those movies where it's not the whodunit of Knives. It's not like she was whispering, "Can I reveal who did it?" in the new Knives Out. You know, it's you kind of know where it's going. That's not the appeal. It's just, but seeing that energy that it expires, or that enthusiasm, I should say, like that was. It worked on me. I could totally, it totally nailed what it was going for, and the songs are good, like you were inferring there, Corey. And I just might have a take for you guys. Are you taking takes right now?
Yes, just one though.
Okay,
so save it. Save
maybe
it for a good
that
one.
initial enthusiasm will wear off. I don't know, but at the absolute least, and I mean absolute least, if I'm really cynical, it's in my top 5 movies of the year. And let me tell you this, with having seen Wake Up Dead Man, I'm looking at my Letterboxd list that I update as I go. I have seen 50 films that came out this year.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So it is at least top 5, and I think it could even be my second favorite movie to this point of 2025.
And your first
One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another.
That's the only film I've given above 4 stars this year is One Battle After Another. I gave K-pop Demon Hunter 4
If you
out of
watched
5.
it yet, go ahead and put that on your list.
Put it on the docket. I'll try and watch it with my nieces.
You can just watch it by yourself. I watched it just me and...
No, because last time I watched a kid's movie by myself, I got kind of lambasted.
It was High School Musical. That's different. You weren't sitting down to watch like Aladdin or something. No one would give you shit for that. You watched High School Musical by yourself. And its sequels.
It's sequel. I didn't watch 3. I kind of have been shamed.
I think we already got to you. We already got to you that point. The intervention had already happened.
He was about to watch it that night, but thank God we stepped in.
He walked in to watch it, and we were all sitting there waiting, like, come sit down, buddy.
In Corey's words, he was gonna have to make a call. He didn't want to, but he was gonna have to.
Really quick, the only other thing I did is I watched The Running Man, the new Running Man, with the Glenn Powell film.
Is Glenn Powell a movie star?
I think
superstar?
Here's the thing.
Is it Edgar Wright's worst movie?
I think Glenn Powell is, because he is the reason why the movie is good. This is the least, far be it for me to like be upset at a director for veering off of their style, but this is probably the least identifiable as an Edgar Wright movie out of all of his movies.
I was surprised to see that. I saw your friend Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Your friend Jake. Yes, I saw him post. He rated it on Letterboxd, and I clicked on it, and I saw that he was like, Glenn Powell is definitely a movie star. But then I clicked on the movie, and I saw that it was by Edgar Wright, and I didn't know that. I was like, oh, that's kind of shocking.
I wish Glenn Powell's great in it, and I think the script's kind of maybe the thing that holds it back. But overall, good movie, not great.
Have you read the book? 'Cause
No,
I hear this one's supposed to be the more faithful adaptation.
Yeah, compared to the Arnold one.
The Arnie version.
I haven't read the book or seen that film. I talked about reading, tried to get myself to read it before seeing it, but I just wasn't going to be able to fit it in, and I knew I wanted to see this when it came out. I'm still chipping away at it. That is a long book, but obviously Running Man is a Stephen King book. Technically Richard Bachman, it's like, one of his pseudonyms, or maybe his only pseudonym. I think he's written 4 books under this name. Ironically, the other one being The Long Walk is another one, which had an adaptation earlier this year, and you can definitely see the similarities. They're not horror, and they're just more like cynical, societal type of movies. A little nihilistic, maybe a bit dystopian, all that. I don't know what you want to call it. Either way, they're similar in that regard. They're very similar plot points. It's, revolves around, a deadly competition that you enter into willingly for money. I think Running Man has more to say about the media aspect of it for sure than The Long Walk. But overall, I will say Long Walk, not an action movie. Running Man's an action movie, and the action scenes are really good. But Long Walk's overall a far more effective adaptation this year, which I did read the book for that too. I liked the book, and I love the movie. I thought was really good. So
I did want to say, you know how you say this is kind of a thing about the media. You know who the original producer was in the original one, right? It was Richard Dawson.
I think I only heard that recently when I was listening to a podcast about this new one. Yeah, that was interesting. Jesse the Body Ventura is also in that one. It's a Predator reunion.
So is Jim Brown. He was an actor after he quit playing foosball.
I love foosball.
So I watched Wicked for Good.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So Corey spent that money. He could have rented True Lies at least 3 times, maybe a 4th. If he was
I also
free.
saw it at the Alamo.
Tell me sweet little
I love the Alamo.
Yeah.
The Alamo was great. I'll never stop you from supporting the Alamo.
I was going to say, so I even spent more money because I got popcorn and chicken tendies.
Going to the Alamo getting popcorn's crazy. You can. They have so many other options there. I guess it's
I got a lot.
Did you get the cool popcorn? Did you get the churro popcorn?
I got the it was like garlic something, parm garlic something thing.
Ooh, that sounds good, honestly.
I think. Can't remember what it was. I ordered regular, but that's what they brought out. It's kind of unfortunate.
I had one of their boozy shakes one time. Ooh, that's some good sipping.
Anyway, Wicked for Good. How much do you guys want me to?
I'm very excited.
Don't spoil it if that's what you're asking.
For listening.
All I'm going to say is they hit quite a peak with Dancing Through Life.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that review.
Yeah. If you want me to expect every song to be Dancing Through Life,
that's not what I said.
Give me Dancing Through Life.
Line boy, down.
That's not what I said. But they hit quite a high with Dancing Through Life and a lot of the songs in the first one, and I just didn't think the songs in this one they matched up. That's all it was. We can talk about it more when you guys see it. I'm excited for you guys to see it.
I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Well, I saw it today. So
I think it's hilarious. I saw it today.
And you haven't brought it up until this point, and we're very proud of you for not bringing up the car until this point. Cole, what did you watch?
Nothing really.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Get a Load of This.
I did do a rewatch of it because it has been a minute. I rewatched Ice Age. Holds up. Definitely holds up.
Featured heavily in Alien Earth.
Age.
I'm not even kidding. Featured heavily in Alien Earth.
That is Ice Age. God, which one is that? Continental Drift. I'm talking about the original one. Doesn't anyone care for Sid the Sloth?
Blind boy.
John Leguizamo is the voice of John Leguizamo as Sid the Sloth is one that I love because Ray Romano and Dennis Leary are just like themselves as like a mammoth and Sabretooth. But yeah, I'm still a really big fan of Ice Age, and I hope my nieces are too. So we can talk about Ice Age. But that's all I got. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. Watch K-Pop Demon Hunters. And so for the next episode, we will be covering, that is right, Knives Out Glass Onion. Or Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story. Is that what it is?
Knives Out Mystery. But
A Knives Out Mystery.
Ryan wanted to leave Knives Out Mystery off of it. So out of respect for Ryan Johnson, we will just call it Glass Onion.
Okay, so it's Glass Onion that is streaming on Netflix, so go check that out. I think we said the first one was streaming on Netflix. That is incorrect. It was streaming on Paramount. No, but not Paramount. Amazon. Sorry. So apologize for that. But that's what we're going to be covering next episode, and then after that we'll be doing Way of Water. So excited for that one. So excited for Glass Onion. Really excited for this little back and forth we got going on. We got quite the dichotomy, so I'm excited.
Solid way to end the year.
Yeah, and then we'll start off after that with our awards episode, right? Yeah, so that'll be good. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Join us next time that we talk about Glass Onion, not A Knives Out Mystery, right? Right. On Netflix. See you then.